go ahead and call this, and incidentally, if you haven't heard, we're going to have the board of directors meeting first, the regular meeting, and then the work session. So having said that, we're going to go ahead and call to order this board of directors meeting of the County Transportation Authority to order. Note for the record, it's 1:33. We'll have a pledge of allegiance to the U.S. and Texas flag done by Don Hartman. Did you know that?
I know that now.
That's what you get from coming out loud. The occasion if you arrive, we'll take care of it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Bow your heads. Heavenly Father, thank you for the blessings you've given us. Understand the reason for the season. We pray for your continued blessings on the agency, all who work for it, board members, their families in this season, and that your will be done in all our lives. In your name we pray. Amen.
If you didn't have a chance to meet Barry Jensen, on my left at the end down there, who's a new member of our board, Small Cities Trophy Club is his category. So if you haven't met him, do so before the meeting's over. Agency awards and recognitions, I go first on this one. Did you have anything? Oh, good. Okay. Mr. Jim Klein was appointed to the Public Transportation Advisory Committee of the Texas Transportation Commission this last week. And I just want to say that that's a very important place for us to be with Texas Transportation. It works under the Texas Transportation.
TxDOT, yes.
Texas Transportation Commission. So we're very proud to have him there, and congratulations.
Thank you, Charles.
And you said you didn't have anything, Jim?
Not in terms of award recognitions.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and proceed with the consent agenda, and I'll read those out individually. Item 1A, approval of minutes for the board work session and regular meeting on November 17, 2016. Item 1B, approval of shared services in a local agreement with Dallas Area Rapid Transit, DART. Item 1C, approval of transit planning software contract renewable with Remix. And item 1D, capital budget amendments, legal services. Are there any questions or concerns within those documents? I do have some, but you can answer them.
Please.
They're pretty simple stuff.
Very happy to do it, Charles.
Okay, Chair, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposition by like sign. Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. We have nothing in council or Jim in executive session. Do you understand
Yes,
that?
No, Charles, if we do have an executive session, I think we should do it as part of our strategic planning effort, if appropriate at that time.
Okay. So that takes us into item number 4, which is chair report. Just a couple of things very quickly. We have taken our legislative agenda to, Jim and I have, to a number of people since we saw you last. Ron Simmons, Jay Nelson, Commissioner Bug, Vandergrift, Lynn Stuckey. Just finished with Senator Estes, and who else did I miss? We made
Tan Parker.
Yeah. So we've covered pretty well all of those that will affect our legislation in terms of sponsorship. And no pushback. It's a pretty simple bill. It will likely come out on local and consent. Have we had that firmly committed?
Yeah, Drew confirmed that that's the plan right now, unless if something comes up in committee that would cause it to not be part of local and consent, but that would be very typical for this type of a bill that has, only impacts us, very low controversy. It's about procurement, refining our language.
And quite frankly, we've used that for a platform to talk about some new ideas that we have in terms of impact fees for transportation funding in this region, which really, I think, kind of had a foothold with a couple of legislators that thought that, we're running out of funding vehicles, and that may be one that the region considers. It won't be this session, but sometime in the future. Also talked about maybe funding the regional toll revenues for managed lanes. And then new TxDOT rail, which I think is a little difficult to absorb in one session, but I think in the future, so we've introduced those three ideas to all of these people we've talked to, and I think we've gotten a good audience from those. So anyhow, we've been pretty busy doing that. We have a couple of things, Jim, you can announce, transportation forum coming up, Denton County Days and so forth, so.
Yes, we do have the Texas, I'll get the dates out here in just a second, I'm going to pull up my calendar. The Texas Transportation Forum will be in Austin, I believe that's in January. Yes, it's in January, and we will, I know right now it's set, Charles, you and I, Anna, you're going, and Christina, and Paul, right? Are you going to Denton County Days, is that?
I'm scheduled.
You're going to schedule for the Denton County Days, not the forum. The forum is where TxDOT gathers a lot of their leadership to go through any TxDOT issues, and so it's a good thing for us to be at and represented. Denton County Days is the end of February, February 28th and March 1st. If you're interested in participating in that, let us know. I think we already put out some calls on that previously, but that's a good opportunity for us to be with our member city representatives in Denton County, the council members and folks from the county that come in, and in Austin. So get a chance to meet with them, some of our representatives, and pitch Denton County. So that's that's that. And if you got two other things if I could, Charles. Are you ready for me?
Yeah, I got one other thing.
Go ahead.
If you remember, I reported to you a little conversation I had with Texas Transportation Commissioner Bud a few weeks ago, and this was in an evening meeting, and I was talking about TxDOT rail, the so-called new TxDOT rail, funding rail. I mean, they now have jurisdiction to the extent they look at our safety procedures and kind of look down our throat from that standpoint, but I introduced the thought of, well, if you're going to have a TxDOT rail, won't you fund it, Commissioner? And it was a nice conversation, and it went on for quite some time, and so he said, I'll tell you what, Charles, you go to Washington and you get our donor state money back, which is now set at about $800 million. That is donor state with respect to gas taxes that we get back from what we send up there, and we'll talk about it. Well, I took it to the next step, and that was Congressman Burgess, and it's a pretty long trail, but at least we're following up just so that you know we're trying every vehicle we can get to get rail funding in the state of Texas, and we haven't given up because we have a legislative session coming, and these ideas will float to the top again in Austin. But anyhow, that's the last piece of that. You had something else.
On the President's report, I have two things, if I could go on to that. The first, item 5A, is on budget transfers. This time we have one, which is related to item, related to item 1D, the capital budget amendment for $6,853 from Wheelwork, which we're over budget in that, to legal support, which closes out all of our fees associated with the AECOM URS lawsuit. So that brings us the last story to be told on that, and so since 2010, we're finished with that once and for all, so that's really good. The other is in terms of regional activities, Charles and I and Raymond were able, and Skip also, were able to attend an event this morning in Fort Worth. The full funding grant agreement approval was today. It was actually signed today. The FTA administrator was in Fort Worth for TexRail. So almost $500 million was brought to the TexRail project, and so anyway, we wanted to be there to support our friends at the Fort Worth Transportation Authority. Great turnout, Fort Worth folk. Gary Thomas came from DART, and anyway, it's a good opportunity to see their headquarters, and again, congratulations.
So did they talk about timetable? Is there any update on timetable?
They're talking December 31st, 2018 for revenue service. So it's going to be challenging, but they're working on it. So, and the Stadler guys were there too. They're putting the rail cars together, and actually they're shipping he said the first shells, they're going to do it different. Instead of assembling the whole car in Busnang, to meet the Buy America requirements, they're building the shells for the car in Switzerland, and then doing all of the assembly and component work in Salt Lake City. at an old Union Pacific shop. It's, if you've ever been up there, it's really cool. It's a huge shop. I mean, the cranes that lift, all the parts out of engines, it's really fascinating. But anyway, congratulating our friends at the at Fort Worth Transportation Authority for their success. And so we wish them the best on that. Any questions for me?
Yes, sir.
I may be just having a brain blank, but did we do anything for Myra Crown over as a sayonara?
No. We were at lunch with her last week, yes, and it was kind of a county goodbye type thing, nothing specific.
Do you think a letter or something would be appropriate? That'd be a good thing?
I think something for her from
That's a good idea.
DCTA.
That is a good idea. She's been one of our biggest supporters. Okay.
We haven't been able to spend any time with Lynn Stuckey yet. She's been in Austin at training and that kind of thing, so we will get to him sooner or later. But we do know him and he knows us. Anything else? Okay, it's your report.
Finished, Charles.
You're finished?
Yep, that's it.
So that leaves item number 6. You got anything you want to rattle it down? This is a record. Okay, report on items of community interest, anyone?
Have a safe holiday. And hope you have a chance to spend time with family.
Okay, so it leaves us number 7. Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposition, like sign. Okay, we'll move into the work session, or you want to?
Could I kick off something a little bit on that, Charles?
You got to be quick.